Alright, hey everyone, just posting the link up here. I think I might have started the stream just a tad early, but shouldn't be too bad because I didn't update the link here, and that should do it. I think I got everything in place. Let's see, got this set up now. Right in the beginning of the video, I wanted to go over the feedback and actually kind of. So I have gotten some feedback. I got an idea for maybe using skeletal mesh for the characters and stuff like that. It's just a little tiny bit ahead of where I am right now, though. But so right now, today, I'm focusing on. I have a host of sounds and effects. It's quite the extensive list because I went through all of the free stuff and found things that I can use. As well as looked at things that I had already purchased a while back. And I'd done just really extensive, like, just searching around, and then I organized the folders so that they're at least in 2 folders rather than just, like, everywhere. That's one of the things when you migrate the files over. They kind of just, like, stick them wherever. And, well, it's probably not the worst thing, but, and maybe I could have done it a little bit easier now that I kind of messed with it a bit, but I just made sure that everything was sitting in good places. Which means that I probably want to unmute the desktop audio because I'm probably going to be like listening to sound. So like I got footsteps now. I'm not hearing them. where footsteps messed up? Nope, everything's still hooked up. Everything's still hooked up. I'm not sure what's going on. Oh, it's just really low. Alright, I got it. I'll probably have to restart the editor real quick because I gotta change the sound over to my headphones. Yeah. Alright, let me restart the editor. Anyway, while I'm doing that... Yeah, save selected. Fuck it. You can see I have a whole bunch of more stuff opened up now. I'm gonna go over some feedback and kind of take a look at that. Like, there's some interesting stuff. Hey, how's it going, man? It's going good. I made some good progress last night as far as getting like sound and effects for my game that I'm working on, and Unreal 4. All right, so let me make sure that these sounds are audible. They might not be. That's some meaty fucking. I wish that like my actual footsteps could sound like this, like. This guy's wearing some fucking boots. I'm not sure if that sound comes through actually. I might as well turn the volume all the way up. I'm actually kind of hesitant to even do that, to like use like that kind of sound. This might end up actually being a fairly short stream unless something comes up. Anyway, let me go over the feedback. Because I said that I was going to do that like 20 times. I'll start with Clem's. Some feedback after playing for a while. You need to set up an options control input window as soon as possible. At least a sensitivity slider. I can't agree enough. Like, I have a pretty decent gaming mouse. And like, I usually set my DPI to like 800 when I'm playing. So I play with a really low like base sensitivity on my mouse. And like, yeah, actually, I have like a big ass mouse pad too. Like my mouse pad is fucking like this big. So like I usually play with this. But the way the game is right now, like the sensitivity sucks. So I need to be thinking about getting that set up. Like and making sure that yeah, um, that is next in line. Like once I get this round of stuff in place, then I'll be thinking about key bindings, which I think there are things on the marketplace that I can look at. The only thing about this is that it's like the least fun fucking thing to work on ever because it doesn't involve any gameplay, anything fun. All it is just like hooking up functionality to like change keys around and stuff. Oh boy. And it's time consuming too. It's not like something you just like finish in one day, but I do have at least an options menu so you can like modify graphics and stuff. That would be nice to at least have that. In many cases, lots of enemies will swarm the player. The most viable strategy is often to wait behind a door and funnel the enemies through a choke point. That actually sounds more like a problem with the level design than it does with the enemies. I think I know exactly what area you're talking about too, because there's one spot in the dark base. Well, there's actually a couple spots in the dark base where it actually makes sense to kind of like fish enemies out of a choke, through a choke point rather than to actually go into the space. And that's something I probably need to be addressing level design wise. It shouldn't be it shouldn't really be like that. It should be more like you go into a space and then you fight the things while you're there, or you're fighting things as you're constantly moving forward. It should never be like run into a space, fire your gun a couple of times, and run back again, and then wait for them to funnel through a doorway. I think a really big part of that also is how smart the enemies are in Unreal 4. I do have control over this. I'm going to have to think about making them even dumber because, like, they know exactly where you are at all times. Using the nav mesh. It's like they have ESP. They can spot you from across the entire level. I've actually pissed off a dude from like while I was doing a battle sequence or something like that. Somehow magically pissed off enemies that were all the way across the map, and they went around the whole level and got to me. Like at the end of a fight or something like that, I was just, all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of zombies attacking me. Yeah, it's weird. I really want to just have the dumb enemies back from Doom. I don't know. Maybe there could be like enemies of differing intelligences. Like maybe if I have like instead of former humans, like actual like Marines that you fight or something like that. That'd be cool. Hey, what's up, Alley Cat? Sorry, I'm starting my stream a little bit late, but wanted to try and kind of like go over stuff first, and I'm still having a difficult time getting the stream set up. And like, I don't know, it's an interesting experience. The auto reload should happen when you fire for the last shot. Yes, I completely agree with this. I've tried a couple of different solutions, and this needs to happen. This is like this has to be the case. When you fire the last shot, the gun should just fucking reload. There's no reason why it shouldn't do that. The way the game is set up right now, it's fine. I'm in the middle of moving boxes into a truck because tomorrow I move. Oh God, I'm not looking forward to having that experience for myself. I wish you luck with that. Shit, what was I saying? Oh yeah. The way the guns are set up in the game right now, you can actually, like a gun with a really long reload time, you can start the reload and then you can switch to another gun, and that gun is still reloading. I'm not sure if I should fix this or not, but it's just the way it's set up right now. Like you can actually switch weapons while reloading. And I don't know if I hate this. It's unrealistic. It's completely unrealistic, but it's sort of, I don't know. Alright, let's see. You need weapon switching on the mouse wheel. Alright, when I get the key binding and stuff like that, I'm going to have to make sure that there's a robust, like, menu for this. I'm sure that there's something on the marketplace for, like, key bindings, because it's a pretty big deal. Like, I've just been using default keys for a while now, and, like, another thing I really like about key bindings is that I can ditch most of those messages at the start of the game right away, like instantly. I can reduce it all down to nothing because the, when you look at key bindings menus, a lot of people pick up, oh, if I press this, then I can do this. They just look at it through a list. They're like, oh, I can reload the weapon. Okay, I'm going to put that on this key. A lot of people will immediately go to that and they train themselves on all of the different keys. And this game won't have like a huge number of keys, but like there's just enough where it's going to be like, okay, so I know now I know I can crouch. Now I know that I can reload. Now you get familiarized with all of the keys right away. That is like double whammy important, double whammy important for making sure that I can get key bindings menu in this. The radius from which you can loot gear should be higher. Yeah, I'm probably just going to be going through this list tonight. You can loot gear while in midair. Should I fix that? I guess I should fix that. Yeah, I guess I have to fix that because you can run up to a crate with a piece of loot on the top of it, and like jump, jump, loot, jump, and loot it. you, you can like pull like loot through walls and shit if you really potentially. I don't have any places like that in the game right now, but you could potentially like do weird stuff like that. Um, all right, that's fucking hilarious. Yeah, it's also pretty easy to fix that. I should just fix that. The air control seems very low. The movement. Yeah, I'm trying to bounce between trying to figure out the. This is getting the air control and all that stuff is a never-ending task filled with anxiety and imperfection. Um, Right now the jump is maybe even a little bit like it used to be pretty floaty, like you jump and then you'd have like total control, right? But then like that was too much. Like you jump in the air and that's just something that the Unreal Engine seems to have this problem in general. Now, let's see, as I mentioned, my feedback click wheel for weapons in slow motion, not freeze frame. And well, those wheels are for console games, aren't they? That's like that's like a console thing. All right, because I can just press numbers or I can use the mouse wheel, but I guess the slow motion thing kind of messes a little bit with multiplayer. It also you don't think so? He's like, no. He's like, no, it's not a console thing. It's a. I don't. Well, let's see. I'd have to like. I'm trying to think of how I'd do that. Like, you'd hold the key down, right? If you hold down the E key or something like that, like you press it, and if it's held down for like a second or something, it doesn't have to be a whole lot of time. And then that would bring up the wheel. I'm not really sure. Like I don't see. You'd have the wheel, and then that would have like all of the different icons, and then you'd be able to like kind of like press in the direction of doing it. Getting that right is a little bit of a thing, but it's not terribly impossible because you'd be just clicking on a piece of pie, right? Yeah, toggle button like the keyboard E. So weapon switching right now needs to have more functionality for sure. The door should um the door should have a bigger opening radius or move faster. You shouldn't be blocked by the door while going through. Oh, yeah, just increase the radius so that the doors open a little bit more, a little sooner. So like while you're walking through the door, you don't have to necessarily wait for the door to open up on certain circumstances. I can see that becoming frustrating for some situations, especially when you're being swarmed by enemies, which is something that Clems has taken note of, is especially the fast zombies. Which there's a door there. I guarantee you that door kept him in that room, being swarmed by fast zombies. I can almost see into his gaming experience at this point in time. Let's see. I don't really like the level system, leveled weapons and enemies and stuff like that. This is an interesting one. I don't think it fits an arena FPS. If one shotgun is stronger than another, it's simply a bigger shotgun with more bullets. If one NPC is stronger than another, then it's bigger, tougher hell beasts with abilities. The way I see it, you're going to increase the level of existing enemies in the next area. Yep. And then the player will have increased experience points, which then normalizes the player's experience, which then normalizes the player to being about the same level as the enemies, give or take. Will increase their levels and they'll get gear to match up. Yep. And then it's like a continuous process. Definitely. All FPS are like that. Well, not all of them are sort of. I mean, do you mean like in general? Like you're always just going to be on the same even ground with the enemies that you're fighting? Why does it warrant an entire XP leveling system? What can you do with XP levels that you couldn't do otherwise? Okay, so this is one of those things. Is like anyone who's looking at this with an analytical mind is going to probably see right through it as being kind of bullshit, right? Okay. The reason the system exists in its current state is more of like a brain candy addiction a method. It's sort of like I'm keeping you into this because I'm constantly feeding you stuff. Like you're getting better and better things and you're constantly growing in a way that kind of adds a level of like it makes the game a little bit more addicting, which is a big part of a loop in the first place, right? Because if you were to have like nothing but like bigger and bigger shotguns, eventually, you know, you're going to be firing a 20 barrel shotgun at an enemy with 20,000 health. It ends up causing pretty weird. I mean, maybe that would be an interesting thing to see eventually. But I mean, after the first 3 or 4 levels, it starts to get a little ridiculous. In this case, what it is it's like I'm essentially bribing you to play Doom and Quake. I know that's a really strange way to think about it, but it's not meant to necessarily have a direct effect, because ultimately you are going to be the same level as the stuff that you're fighting. Maybe not at first, but it creates a scenario where at first when you enter an area, you're going to be having a little bit more of a difficult time, which creates in your mind a difficult, like, this area is harder than the last area that I was. And then you slowly, you know, you start leveling up because the monsters that are over your level give even more experience points. And then you'll be the same level. Now you're playing Doom and Quake again, right? But you're also, there's scenarios too where you have a weapon that you get that's one level above where you are right now. Alright, I'll play for another 15 minutes so I can use this cool gun that I just got. I was successful in keeping you playing another 15 minutes. But it borders on insidious sometimes, but this is sort of like there's an ebb and flow to this that doesn't exist in standard Quake. What's this? Is that a video link? Click wheel used well for FPS. Yo, I really should have talked about this when we spoke the other day. Yeah, well, the mouse wheel is easy as hell. I can get that right away. I'm thinking about the way I would implement an entire, like, click wheel. Well, anyway, this ebb and flow is like a really big point of kind of just keep feeding the player happy thoughts, essentially. Like I'm using Dwarf Fortress. I'm using Dwarf Fortress logic. But I think it does actually play a really important role, and it does have an effect on gameplay too, because sometimes you'll get something that is above your level. Sometimes you'll get something that's below your level. Now you have to kind of think about whether or not like that thing that you just got that's really good. Like the Hermes boots are only level 3, but you're probably going to be about level 6 or 7 by the time you can actually craft the Hermes boots, right? So like those are like a best in slot item, but they're going to take a considerable amount of resources in order for you to upgrade them up to level 7. Maybe even too much. Swords and Sauce, you have probably seen it. It's a UE4 game. I haven't. I'll have to check it out afterwards. I'll have to be careful because yesterday on the stream there was people suggesting all kinds of crazy stuff. That like there was this like one thing called Unloved. I'll have to watch the stream again, or maybe put the chat like on the screen so that I don't think I should do that though because people could say like weird stuff and get me in trouble. But um, there's got to be a way to like preserve suggestions. Maybe I should just like start copying shit over onto a text file or something. I'll check it out. I'll check that out later. Uh, so yeah, like the leveling system is adding a lot of uh, a lot of extra stuff to something that ends up being roughly, ultimately, not all that different from Doom and Quake, right? I mean, like you're still going to be on the same terms, and you're not going to be allowed to trivialize future fights. But once you do the future fight and you hang out in that area for a little while, it's going to be trivialized, right? So it's like overcoming difficult stuff and then moving to the next place, and then you don't have as much leeway. The enemies are doing more damage. You'll be fighting stuff that's, well, anyway, I could probably go on and on about that. Okay, otherwise it was great. I find myself wondering whether or not I should continue or go back and upgrade my gear. Yes, I should often take time to select the perfect weapon for each fight. Yes. So the game loop seems to work well. If I can get even half the people, if I can get at least even half the people who play this to feel this way, hell yeah. Alright, that right there is very good. And a lot of problems don't seem so bad. The swarming the enemy thing, that's a level design thing. I'm almost sure I know exactly where that is. I put too many in. I have a little tight thing and like 20 enemies on the opposite side. Obviously, I've created a scenario where in the level design where it's just stupid to even try to go into the room right away unless you already know what's there. I bet if I watch people playing, I'll probably cringe at what I have done. So let's see. Next bit of feedback. Nice seeing such tangible progress in this project. I will say a few things. I know I was the one mentioned the pixeliness of the dirt tiles. All right, so let's take a look at the pixeliness of this. Hold on. Let me go to where it's even more pronounced. Swords and Sauce. I'll have to check that out. Let's see. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm having a hard time with this as well. Like, if it's super pixelated, it looks bad, and if it's super blurry, it looks bad. If it's, I imagine that if I make it look like high quality, like actual like high quality rock textures and shit, it might look a little out of place. I don't know. I mean that is another option. I could actually just like go with like really high quality textures with normal maps and do the whole 9 yards. But is that gonna look okay next to that? Maybe. Maybe it'll contrast. But yeah, like now it is really blurry. Even the grass is blurry. All of it's pretty damn blurry. Um, Two, one of the cool things about Doom 1 and 2 is that you can run past enemies if you really want to. So I hope there won't be too many of those Doom 26-4. There's going to be on average, each level is going to have 3 of them. Maybe a 4th one if you include the boss fight at the end. On average. It's roughly, think of them appearing roughly the same amount of times as keys and doors. Like keys to open doors in Doom. So you'll see red door, red key, blue key, yellow key, right? And then I might have like an ending boss fight at the end, which will also be one of those types of things. The par times for each level, I want the par time to be roughly 30 minutes. And that's if you know where everything is. The Dark Base is already a pretty long level. I imagine that in order to get up to the end of the Dark Base, like the Dark Base is a pretty decent sized level. Well, this is about half the size that I want this level to be. I want there to be another section up here. Like you do a whole bunch of fighting when you go up above this area. You take an elevator here to here, and when you come up here, then you're gonna see a bunch of enemies running across, and they're gonna like try and swarm you. Go figure. I'm swarming the player again. And then there's another section over here, which then will connect back up into here, and that goes. So if you look at the Dark Base currently right now, in order to get up to this part with the elevator, that doesn't exist yet. I should probably put a message in the level that says so. It's about 15-20 minutes, maybe, ish. I don't know. If you guys have played through, let me know how long it took. Or, well, I'm guessing that it's about 15 minutes of gameplay, because you're going through here, like, you might be, like, looking for all the side stuff, or you might just, like, go right through. You get to this, you fight this, you do this part right here, where there's, like, 20 enemies behind a tiny door, which is what I was talking about before. In fact, I might just get rid of the door altogether, because, I don't want people funneling enemies through a tiny a tiny opening. So this section might just get redesigned, and this section up here as well, because this is another spot where you're just funneling enemies through. I'll have to be more mindful of that stuff. But anyway, I'm kind of actually surprised I wasn't mindful of it in the first place. But so it's like about a half hour per level ish. I'm planning on 8 plus 1. So it's a decent amount of gameplay time. And that's not counting the time you go back and start crafting stuff. Anyway, I forgot why I got onto that. You mentioned running out of ammo if you use a rapid fire version of a gun, which makes me wonder, will you be able to craft ammo for the scraps you collect? Yeah, absolutely. In fact, actually, I still have ammo parts. They're called ammo parts. But right now I have hotkeys dedicated for like whether or not you you boost your armor or your health. You press a button, and it kind of works like Estus flasks. I'm actually thinking of introducing an ammo thingy that just replenishes all of your ammo when you use it, and just like instantaneously. They're not going to be super expensive to make, but ammo parts are going to be items that you have to find, and you'll be able to craft them. I don't see why not. Like I guess I can call it like an ammo canister or something like that, or an ammo box, and all you do is it's just a consumable item. Still on the fence whether or not having consumable items is the greatest idea, though. How's it going? How's it going, Jacoby? Let's see. All right, so that's that for the feedback on this. I think. Cheers, dude. Yes, the animation thing. All right, that's good. I'm good on that right now. So like, actually I can go ahead and I think I can just close this. Open up the Steemit post on this side so I can at least keep track of that. My last my last post where I posted the game made $30. Hmm. All right, so with that said, I have sound effects now, and I'm kind of going to be thinking about how I want to hook all these up. So one of the things I know that I'm going to need no matter what is a use sound effect, inventory sound effects for like when you move the item around. That's really important. So like I have just so many sounds, but I still think I might need more. But I also have a lot of like crazy effects too. So like if I play the game right now, for performance reasons, I was testing this. I made it so like every gun spawns an explosion when you fire it. I don't know why the explosion is sideways, but I was just testing this, and it turns out that if a minigunner starts opening up on me and he's causing explosions like this, it affects performance. It looks like a nuclear bomb. The shotgun. The shotgun. Ugh. But so I compiled a version of the game to make sure that I could still do that last night, and um, tried to play the game this way, and it was pretty dramatic. But I am seeing performance problems when I do this, and this is probably a worst case scenario. Um, I need to. One of the things I'm glad I didn't see in the feedback is people complaining about performance, but I need to kind of like hear what people think about like the frame rate. Maybe the frame rate needs to be displayed by default or something like that. Because if this game dips below 60 frames per second on a machine that's like 2 or 3 years old, that's gonna bother me. There's no reason why a game that looks like this should run slower than a game that looks like fucking Unreal Tournament 4, like would all art turn up. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be pretty officially pissed off like if I made something that is like pixelated voxel art and it's running slower than Witcher 3 or something, you know. So I'm concerned about performance on that front. Like, watch him shoot. Whoa! I killed him. I guess when I was blowing him up, he'd have to die. Why isn't he reacting to me? I have it in script where when you deal damage, it places you at the top of their hate list. But for some reason that didn't work. He just stood there. Oh, because he's in sniper state. That's right. I'm just imagining what this will sound like. And you know what, too? The area of effects delete themselves very quickly. So let's see if I go into area of effect. Area of effect is the impact marker. Now the area of effect can also just affect one object, but it's sort of like an all-encompassing thing where um, it's an all-encompassing like impact effect. So it can be explosions, it can be just like a bullet marker, like hitting in the wall or something. So I'm gonna make this explode. I'm gonna make this not go away. Like I'm gonna delete it way later. Let's see. Doesn't this self delete itself? AoE flash. Destroy actor. After duration. Oh, that's for the light. I got rid of. I'm gonna have to get rid of this thing. That's a dynamic light that I have on every single impact effect. Hmm. Maybe I could have like optional things for like turning the graphics all the way up to some like insane degree, but duration, I'm gonna make you 4 seconds. All right, yeah. So I'm going through an event tick. That's how I'm doing the how long the impact effect lasts as a graphic. So the explosion should last longer. Oh wow, I guess the original effect actually just disappears like that. Print. Yeah. No? Turns out 4 seconds isn't as long as I thought it was. Or maybe, yeah, it was set to 1 before. Shit, let's set this to like 100. The delta seconds might not be happening at actual delta seconds. Okay. 1,000? Why is this... There might be something else going on. Yeah, that's just the tick. That's when damage is applied. Huh. Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to be going over my own stuff, getting confused by my own things. I haven't touched the impact effects in quite some time. Yeah, when it equals 0. So I think what I'm going to have to do is... Oh, hold on a second. Never mind. My kitty cat became distraught because the doors were closed. Oh, it's only reporting the sound. It's only reporting the print when it's complete. What are you doing, variable? Oh, that's why. I'm dumb, that's why. The max is it's clamping it. You can't very well set it above 1. That doesn't make sense though. I'm probably clamping this variable somewhere else. Yep, I'm clamping it somewhere else. So where are you being clamped, duration? Find references. That's it. That's the only places that it's happening. Hmm. What do you guys think? Could be happening here. Oh, I know why. Hold on. The duration of the effect isn't a visual duration. It's actually being set as part of its heartbeat for when it applies its effects on a one every tick. In other words, the duration of this is being set somewhere else entirely. I'm going to have to... Yeah, I can't use the duration for that. The duration's being used for an entirely different system. This will cause poor results because it'll apply the effect. But I'm just testing to see what the explosion looks like. All right. So the duration system. There's a whole thing I need to think about that because all of that just so I could see it fade out just a little tiny bit slower. Yeah. Now here's the problem though. Well, this is just kind of amusing, but since the duration do you see how it keeps puffing more and more damage on him? The longer the effect lasts, the longer the effect doesn't destroy itself, the more times it pulses its effects. So like this is for like doing poison damage or fire. I have support for that in the system, so that's the yeah. I was actually thinking of making just videos of me commenting my stuff. I'm not even sure how a comment would have solved that because this would have been like just confusing to begin with because I had to think about like what the variable was for. I'd have to have like an individual comment for this, but yeah, there's no comments in any of my stuff right now. I should just have a thing because one of the things I want to do is release the blueprints with the game, so like people can modify it. The only problem I was thinking about this actually, if I want to have like full mod support for the game, which is absolutely, of course, I want to do that. I can't. I don't know if I can release the graphics or the effects and the sound effects. I don't think I can release those because that'd be a really dick move for me. Like these guys are selling their stuff on the marketplace, and then like I sell my game. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to look at the fine print or something like that. But like people would be getting access to like packs for like a sound pack that costs like $30 for music and stuff, and they can just buy my game for $20 or whatever, right? And like they would be getting the same sound pack for less, and it would be siphoning credit from the original person. So that's one of the other reasons why too I wanted to make sure everything's in like real easy directories, because when I release things and I make it available to everybody, like I don't want to fuck people over. So like the mod support is gonna be like no sounds and no effects. So I'll have to figure that out a little bit better. Well, anyway, there's a huge amount of sounds and stuff, and a lot of these sounds are free, but the vast majority of these things are coming from like stuff on the marketplace. So like military weapons. Yeah, so I have like the shotgun fire sound effect. Watch out, I don't know how loud this is gonna be. I hope that wasn't super loud. Was that alright, guys? Did that sound like an actual shotgun going off? Yeah, if you hit... I don't know, let's see. I'll have to see, like... That's... I think a lot of today, I'm just going to be messing around with sound effects. It's just going to be a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not even really sure. This is one of those things where I have to just like be thinking about it while I'm doing it, and like I'm not sure if it really is conducive to like streaming content. I think I've already done quite a bit of just talking, and it's been a 40 minutes, good 40 minutes. But Alright, let me take a look at inventory items. Okay, so the sound effects for item base, right? So I have item base has everything, all the variables set up for what I need. Like, can be upgraded, can be, here's the data table row. This is the base class for all items in the entire game, right? And like these are all the variables that are set here. I have an icon for the icon. Like what's nice about the base class is like any variables that I set here are easy to access at all times, without having to cast or do any kind of like tricky stuff. So like I should probably have all references for like sound effects here, like, or at least the majority of those sound effects should be located here. Those are enumerations. And the only place I'm using structs for is for the individual classes. So like ammo has its own struct. And that struct only affects the like how quickly the item regenerates and stuff like that. This is stuff that's specific to ammo, but it utilizes a lot of those same variables. And then there is the occasional variable that's just always on. I just toggle it on in the base class or something like that. Like you can't dismantle or drop ammo anymore. Like I made it so like you can't do anything with ammo other than just watch it regenerate. And it's the same with boosters. So I have a struct for boosters are the concoctions, like the buffs, the temporary bonuses that you can give yourself for like increased attack power, sprinting, and accuracy and stuff like that, right? So this would need like a use sound. One thing that's pretty much true for all of these except for guns is an inventory sound for when it moves from one inventory to the other, and a sound for when you use the item. So those are two sounds right away. I can put those right in the base class. I could put references to those in the base class, and not even flinch, like, and not even flinch. So if I have that here, what else would I need? I'm just thinking like something that's universal for all items. So when the item moves from one spot to another in inventory, so like when you loot it, it makes a sound, right? And then I have to have a sound for when the item is used, which I can double that for when the item is fired. So like use and fire can be the same thing. And then guns would have unique stuff like reloading, equipping and unequipping, stuff like that. Because you have like these like really subtle like sounds that kind of crop up that are like when you bring the weapon up. Let's see, military weapons. So like, was it pickup? That's when you lower the gun. Mag eject? Oh yeah, so when you're reloading, I guess. Yeah, this is supposed to be the sound for when the gun comes up onto the screen. Guns don't sound like that in real life. I don't even think they I don't even think they make any noise at all. Like you hear it in like movies and stuff all the time though. Alright, so projectiles would have sound effects for like when they fly by you. And then there's the pistol fire sound. I don't know how loud this is. That's one hardy pistol. That would be use. So equip, use. I could probably put all of these in the base item. Equip, use. if I think about this in terms of generic functions, I could probably have reference to sound effects for all of this stuff. Oh, yeah, and then there's the effects. The effects will have sounds, right? And then so like that means that I need to have sounds in um on the projectile itself, which let me close this. So area of effect, projectile will have to have a sound because like when a missile flies by, it obviously needs to have like a kind of a sound, right? And then what else? You gotta have when the impact actually happens. So like that could be either a sound of a bullet just like hitting something, or it has to be based on the effect that plays. So like bullets hitting metal needs to sound different from bullets hitting cement. But also too, you need to have a different sound if it's an explosion, like it's a rocket exploding. So I think I need to differentiate between uh I need to differentiate between explosions and ballistics. So yeah, that's gonna be an interesting thing. All right, so like on the area of effect, I need to differentiate between ballistics and explosions. Explosions will always face up, even if I don't know, actually. There might be some cases where the explosion has to face a certain way. But another thing that I gotta worry about now too is that this explosion is sideways, which means that not all the artists adhered to the same directions. Something went wrong here. Why is the explosion sideways? Why is it facing that way? Let's see what happens if I can at least figure this out, because this is kind of annoying. Yeah, the damn thing is sideways. It's facing yellow. It's not facing red. Or not yellow, it's facing blue. So it's on the z-axis? Alright. So that means that if I turn off rotation. Okay, alright, I'm good. I'm good actually. The artist was smart. The artist did do it right. I'm the one who's messing with this. Okay. Yeah, the explosion looks a lot better when it's like facing the proper direction. Oh, wow, look at that. I still don't like how that. Now the effect itself is actually the thing that's cutting off right now, because I have it actually sitting there for a long time. Oh no, wait. Never mind. Alright, I'm going to have to rework the functionality for this, because there has to be a how long it stays visually versus how long it stays technically. So I'm going to work on that right now, because that's just got to happen. That's something I've got to do in preparation of all this other stuff. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I suspect the next few days is just going to be looking at explosions a lot. Although I do remember that the starter content has like a perfect effect for the imp fireballs and stuff, where where it's sort of just like like a decent explosion. It's like something that I can even change color of it fairly easily, and be able to have that actually be like God damn it, where's the effect? There's so many folders now. This game's getting big. Where are you? Effect. That was elemental. Yeah, here it is. So like, actually, oh, it's doing something. There it is. Oh God. Yeah. There's an imp fireball. Boom. Boom. And it makes me want to go fight an imp. So I can see how well it matches. Man, it just fucking toasted that guy. Alright, here's a couple imps. Alright, throw your fireball. Whoa. Look at that. Got this shit figured out. It even smokes a little afterwards. Yeah, no, I forgot about that. Aside from the fact that I just applied a nasty poison effect, which caused also a whole bunch of errors. With every single poison shotgun. Poison shotgun. Okay. So this is gonna have to be like, okay, I'm gonna have to have like a do once for the apply effects, or just waits a second after the first tick. So after the first tick where this equals 0. Yeah. So when this doesn't equal 0, it does it 1, 2, 3, and it keeps going. You're gonna have to be 1 second though by default. So like, yeah, and then once this does equal 0, then it destroys itself, right? I mean, it makes sense. It's pretty baseline. So let me think. What's the best way to solve this? To make sure that the effect can stay around longer. I think I'm going to do away with the AoE flash, but maybe I'll leave it just in case I want to have some kind of a flash. Maybe a projectile can have a flash effect of some sort. I can spawn something else, but it's just spawning too many things, man. Wait. Spawn particle. Particle system param type. Oh, what is this? Material. What if it says nothing? What do we got here? What is that outputting? So if it equals material, switch param type. Alright, I'll have to look this up. This looks really useful. One of the things that I'm going to have to be paying attention to is like what type of material is being shot at, right? So like when a bullet hits dirt, I want it to look like dirt, and when a bullet hits, if it's a ballistic type, so I have to make sure that it's specified as a ballistic type, but if it's a bullet, then I want dirt to look different from metal. If it's an explosion, then I want it to look like an explosion. Period. With that said, take another look. It allows me to spawn them as components, but if the component is part of the object itself, so once the actor is destroyed, I imagine the component will disappear as well. So like if I Probably going to error out if I don't give it a transform. Oh, I could do that. I could do this where there's another check right here. If it equals 0, then I don't want it to continue pumping. That actually fixes the problem right there. Should be doing that anyway. So if duration equals 0, then the pumping ends. Now the problem with that is that the final tick doesn't happen anymore. I've nerfed poison shotguns. I've nerfed poison shotguns. If that's the case, then I don't even need to worry about this, but I should try it anyway, just to see what happens. Yeah. After 1 second, let's see what happens. I think this actually... yeah, it's deleting itself after 1 second. I might not actually want to do the destroy self. I just literally have a sequence here that okay, so sequence, I'm not doing that yet. I don't know if I want to have that right now because apparently the particle effects can have lights on them. So for now, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and just leave this. This is gonna be a thing that happens no matter what. So delay. Um, 10 seconds. And then delete self. Okay, so I've unhooked the visual effect, but I still maintain that there is a poison damage effect. If that makes any sense. So like, all right, now, yeah, now the effect stays for like 10 seconds. It has plenty of time to be in effect. Alright. This is absolutely necessary that I get this out of the way before I start look at all these explosions. Ah! Alright. Okay, so this is yep, it's only applying it correct to the alright. So the effect is working correctly now. And it's not deleting itself. Let me see. Let me just mess around with the explosion one more time, just in case. That sounds... meshes? Where's the... oh, the effects are just chilling out here. So here's a grenade explosion. And get this in here. Okay. Damn. How many particle effects does that spawn? It seems to makes effects really dramatic. All right. So with that, no. So with that in place, um, okay. So with that in place, I should now get a sound effect in here as well. Because I know that the impact effects are gonna have to have sounds. It makes sense to do it this way, where it's kind of backwards like this, because I'm going to have to eventually follow the hierarchy down from the item to the projectile to from the weapon to the projectile to the AOE. So like this is all going to be set within the same data table. So like I need to make sure all of the items at the bottom of the chain are correctly accepting variables. So I'm going to have variables that are already set up to like different things in order for me to be able to actually uh, get everything in a functioning state. Like, because if you start from the top, it's kind of annoying and it might not work correctly. So I need a sound effect, and the sound needs to play as soon as the item spawns, basically. So, all right, I'm gonna have to have it a component, and it's gonna need to be a sound. Well, would it be a speaker? What is a sound component actually? There you are. I don't think you're an audio curves or an audio component that also provides curves to drive animation. It's like Doppler effect. Wonder what that is. And why is there an audio here and not an audio up here? I guess they're both the same. Component used to play a sound. All right. Impact sound. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that this is impact FX. AOE flash. I don't know if I need this, but it's off and it's never turned on, so it shouldn't have any performance. Shouldn't have any performance impact. Although who knows? Maybe even a light that's not turned on could have an impact. Attenuation settings. All right, so there's an awful lot going on with a sound effect like this. The attenuation settings I think are set in the sound cue, but I might be wrong. Like attenuation, I guess I'm pretty sure attenuation is the radius in which the sound can be heard. So like impact sound. Now, does it automatically play as soon? Allow spatialization, override attenuation. Does the sound play as soon as? Oh God! Look at all these variables. What aliens created this technology? Look at all of these things. My main concern right now is if the sound effect just plays. So I'm gonna find a nice explosion FX sound, which will probably be sounds, grenade launcher, and explosion. Okay, so now that I got that selected, I'm gonna just apply that to this because alright. Let me see if this automatically plays the sound effect as soon as it happens. This will be the first time a sound has come out of this game. Okay. Alright. Nearly. How... Whoa. I don't know if you guys can hear, like, it sounds different when it's even far away. That's coming through on the right and left. Alright. Is he dead? I didn't mean to. That was. Oh, that was fucked up, man. Wow, this shotgun feels pretty powerful now. It's fucking with me. I should just make a shotgun that does this. Whoa. Doesn't seem like anything should survive that. At all. It doesn't seem like it to me. Ugh. Alright, alright. Ah, that feels good. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, now I'm safe. Oh god! That's the problem with the AI in this. They know where you are from, like, those guys were all the way down here. Damn it. Are you fucking kidding me? The blocking volumes are stopping the bullets. It's quite the fireworks show. 4th of July. I can't even see what I'm shooting at. Got that. Alright, so this blocking volume stopping bullets. It's another problem I gotta solve. Why are blocking volume stopping bullets? It's an invisible wall. Yeah, it should only maybe it should only block pawns. Pawn only. Right? Damn it. I'm just gonna set this to default for a second. Test. Yeah, maybe if it just sets to, if I just set these to block pawn, I have a feeling that'll solve the problem, because the player is a pawn, and that's really the only thing I want being blocked by these invisible walls. Is okay, well, that's another thing I'm gonna have to solve. That's annoying. I may actually need to go to the forums or something, or just fuck around with it for a little while to figure that out. But projectiles hitting invisible walls is kind of annoying. They should just continue off until they self-delete themselves, which projectiles do have that. I think after like 5 seconds, the projectile will just self-delete itself. So anyway, with that said, now I have sounds which I need to, in the construction, specify the effect and specify the sound on the construction of the object. So now I'm going to have to make variables. And while I'm at it, I might want to have a boolean for allow flash, allow AoE flash. Flash. Now that I have an AoE flash, oh, that's just going to be something that I set in here. Destroy self. I'll leave them up for 10 seconds. If I start noticing performance issues, then that'll be something else I'll worry about. But right now, like, this sequence works fine. But I'm gonna have to have a thingy here. Someone liked my tweet. Someone liked my tweet. Did I tweet this? Branch. Alright, yeah. So if this is true. So in the construction of this object, I'm going to have to pull from variables. So I'm going to have an impact sound effect, an impact effect, and whether or not the AoE flash is a thing. So that's already a variable. I'll have to make that expose on spawn. That way, when I'm going down the hierarchy, I spawn this object from the projectile. I'll be able to specify that. So let's see. Promote a variable. Not a local variable, right? And this will be impact sound effect. Oh, it's component. Wait, what? Oh yeah. Huh. How about that? That's not what I wanted to do. What I actually need to do is sound, set sound, and then I promote the variable. Yeah, that gives me something that's a little more malleable. Alright, for impact sound effects. Okay. And then particle. What is it? Set particle or something like that? Beam start and end points. I'm not really using any beams. What do I get out of this? I'm trying to think. Oh wait, I know an easy way to figure this out. Just says sound. Just says template. Set the template. I'll promote a variable out of that. And that will be impact FX. Ref. I guess for consistency's sake, I'll just make them both references now. Alright, both have to be exposed on spawn because I'm going to be modifying these things when the object is first created. So got this and that, and Okay. It's not so bad once I start getting into it. Although I wonder how entertaining this is. So, alright, let's see. Um, the base item, I'm not going to worry about the base item right now. Well, might have to worry about the base weapon. Because I'm not going to have impact sounds, and I'm not going to have impact effects on the base weapon, you know, on anything other than like the weapons. But alright, yeah, see, these are now being set to blank. If they're set to blank, then just simply nothing happens. That works. Let me go to the weapons. The base weapons. There's a ton of weapons in this game. But if I can remember where my own stuff is. Weapons, base. Now the weapons have a struct. Now the two things I'm going to need for the struct will be these two sound effects. I'll just add them to the bottom. So everything past this point is going to be sounds and effects. So let's see, accuracy difference, new. All right, I'm going to need a for now, I'm just going to do references to the direct sounds, because to check for whether or not it's ballistic or explosive, I don't know if that should be one variable, or maybe even an enumerator. No, because there's only going to be two states. I don't think there's going to be more than that. Like, I'm not going to have like bullets, arrows, and like arrows are going to use the same logic as ballistics. Maybe, unless I want to have like the object stick into something. But it's mostly just going to, for right now, it's just explosions and ballistics. Right? So you have AoE explosion, and you have AoE ballistics. So I need to take a look at these variables that I just created. This is an impact sound effect, it's sound base, and you are a particle system. Okay, so those two things are pretty straightforward. Oh god, there's a lot of stuff already in here. Sound base. And that makes me a little worried, actually, because these objects, it gives me the ability to choose whether or not this is a class or a existing reference. I guess it's gonna have to be an existing reference. Projectile impact sound. Oh, look at this fucking this struct is getting mighty large. It's gonna get even bigger. But this is base stuff that all the guns are gonna be using. All right, so like particle system. That's just gonna be a regular projectile impact sound. Projectile impact effect, maybe one thing I could do is if the impact effect is blank, if like I don't put anything in the impact effect, then it's automatically assumed that it's a ballistic projectile. And if I do it that way, then I don't have to worry about an extra boolean in case I need to make sure that whether or not, because that'll affect the logic of a lot of stuff. Like, I don't know. Okay, so I got an impact sound, impact effect. Now that is now being, now that is now on every single weapon. So I'm going to go to weapon base. Yeah, they're all using the same struct. So here's impact sound, impact base. So in this case, the blaster. Yeah, now I just hook up all of these to that, and then I just make sure that the variable gets passed down through the projectile to, yeah. There's quite a few moving parts with this, but it's not that bad. It's not. So like on the weapon base, modifying this, it spawns a projectile. That's the weapon kick. Oh yeah, that's another thing I want to do as well. While I'm in here, I might as well hook that up. Side thing, not related to what I'm doing currently. Weapon. And you are not a particle system. You are nothing more than a floating point variable. That is all you will ever be. This is so that every weapon has a unique kick on the view model. Because like the assault rifle kicks like the shotgun right now, and it's a little too much. The assault rifle should be more like a like. But in this case, it's like and I can't even see, like it affects the screen a little bit too much. The same thing with the auto pistol and stuff too. Like I don't mind the auto pistol having a bit of a crazy kick to it, but like it shouldn't be the same as a Magnum. The Magnum should kick a lot more. So like there should be more of a screen going back. Alright, so that's just while I'm in this anyway. Like all the guns are going to have it. And the lightning gun shouldn't kick at all. Like the lightning gun kicks right now. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so the impact effect and impact sound. So I'm in weapon base. Okay, so spawn projectile. There's two different spawn projectiles. This will make more sense later on. This is if the projectile will have. Yeah, the projectile currently has a mesh associated to it, so you actually see like a bullet flying through the air. It's really nice for rockets. So I'm gonna have to go to the projectile base because the stuff that I'm doing doesn't need to be passed necessarily. That's actually one of the things I did wrong with my RPG template, was I passed variables when it wasn't necessary. The object stores the variables. You can just usually store the object. You don't have to store every single variable as they're being passed through every single thing. That happens automatically. You don't have to necessarily worry about like so you don't have to worry about like every tiny little variable being passed through everywhere. So the projectile base. Okay. That's the construction. Here's the event. Alright, this is kind of a complicated one because it's an object that does a line trace based on a certain distance. and repeats the process along a specific vector and modifies itself. I did this a little bit because it's a little bit more reliable. It's a hell of a lot more reliable than the projectiles that they come with, that they give you, those horrible projectiles that they give you in the FPS template. Is they're just useless. It's like you're gonna get stuff stuck in walls. The damn things won't always go correctly. Like, I don't even know why they exist. Like, they put those in there. It's not usable. It's almost like somebody was afraid that, like, you know, you might make a competition for Unreal Tournament 4 or something, so they like horribly sabotage everybody who uses the FPS template with these like totally useless things. Okay, so like now this is the weapon reference, right? And the weapon reference has impact. It's impact flash. In weapon base event, or would it be in construction? No. Oh, okay. So it's a little bit more complicated than that. I have to go to I'll start off with pistols. Yeah, alright. See this mess right here? This is when all of the variables are set to a class based on the data table in the construction. You do it in construction, that way it happens right away. Everything gets done as it needs to be done. But you'll notice that there's some additional things here. Weapon kick is a variable that I want in weapon base. Like, I want that. That's just something I want in weapon base. So I'm just gonna have to make that variable here. In fact, actually, I might make all of those variables actual physical variables in here. So there's a view model. I'm gonna do weapon kick. And you are a floating point. Oh yeah, when I do this, it touches every single gun in the game. Scary. The nice thing is though, is that now that I'm depending on data tables, I don't have to worry about like it touching those objects as much, because all of the really important data for each of the objects is located in the data table. The worst that can happen is the data table line, like the reference to what line it is might get modified, but that takes minutes to fix. So I'm going to need a impact effect sound. Wait, what was the exact wording in the projectile? I should probably have some music playing in the background. I'll probably do that in a second. I'm too into this right now. So the impact effect sound now exists. So go back to weapon base. You need to be a sound. Or is it a... Sound base? Yeah, sound base. Alright, let me get back to weapon base. Okay. And then I need a particle systems. I'm going through so many objects at once. And particle is a projectile impact effect. And you are a particle system. Alrighty. Going. Do it. It takes a long time because it's referencing like all of the guns in the entire game, so like every single one of them. Every time I modify this. Now that I have those variables made in the base class, what I need to do is reference them correctly here, and weapon kick gets set, projectile impact set, and then effect impact effect. You and you are all set now. And this is just getting ridiculous. Look how many fucking variables. It looks messy, but it's really just, it's fluff. This is probably about as complicated. Like referencing lots of variables and stuff like that is the most complicated my blueprints get. For the most part, they end up usually just looking like, I don't know, like shit like this. That might be like as bad as it gets sometimes. Actually, the AI ended up getting kind of wacky, but even that I think is my fault because there is a whole state machine for how AI behaves and like what its current goals are and stuff like that that I did not utilize probably at all correctly. Um, the functionality of this engine is like a rabbit hole, man. It just keeps going. Every time I learn a little bit more about it, I learn that there's like an entire thing. There's sections of this 3D engine that I have never even seen before, and and I have been making an entire fucking game in it, and I still don't know all of the different things. Okay, so I don't need to have that open. I don't need area effect base. Okay, back to this. Oh shit, I just realized something. The weapon kick needs to be set to the default, which is 0.8 right now. If I don't do that, then none of the guns will have kick for a little while until I fix it. That just makes it a little bit better. So at least now it's just where it's supposed to be. So it's impact, get projectile impact sound. Get input and effect. Oops, did I say? I meant get impact effect. Alright, so these are both now passed from the gun, from the gun's data table to here. So now all the pistols, I don't have a whole lot of pistols on my character at the moment, but basically I go into here, make sure that this is set up, make sure I'm saving everything so I don't lose data. And I have to pick sound effects, impact sounds, and stuff for each of the guns. So that actually raises up, do I want to Do I want to deal with the different surfaces having different ballistic effects now? Or should I be thinking about that uh, after I'm done with just getting everything in place? I think what I'm going to do is the first pass, I'm just going to give everything a base effect. In this case, though, like the Imp Fireball and the Hellbeast Ball, the Tri-Fire Pistol, be ballistic, that's ballistic. These are mostly ballistic. The Blaster is not ballistic, and that will be using like a electrical explosion or particle effect. For now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to default everything to metal. Or, yeah, or cement, or maybe, yeah, maybe cement, because there's more cement in the game than there is anything else. Or, you know, stone, basically. So, what I'll do is, I'm going to go to Impact Sound, and I have to pick the sounds. Like, I'm just going to go through each and every one of the guns and choose a sound for its impact. Now, the beautiful thing about this, though, is that the sound cues, let's see if this hooks up correctly, is that the sound cues can allow variance on the different ways. Like, I don't have to point to like 20 different things here. I can just point to one sound cue and it picks randomly, like maybe between 4 or 5 different impact sounds, so that like not every explosion sounds exactly the same. The system already is set up for that. So for sounds on, I'm gonna go to the military. Yeah, pistol, and this will be impact. I'm probably gonna be using a lot of the impact effects. It's kind of important that I have the sound up a little bit so you guys can hear. Alright, that'll be the sound of the projectile itself. Not really sure how I want to do that though. That's loud. Huh. So there's no impact sound. Let me just see if I can look for impact. Assault rifle impact. Yeah, those are effects though, those aren't sounds. Those are effects. Uh-oh, I might be missing sounds. Like, I don't have like impact sounds for ballistics. So I might just have to leave them blank. That's not good. There's gotta be something here though. Because I remember, like, was there something in survival horror that was like FX? I remember hearing everything's so like separated, nothing's organized. That's probably gonna be honestly, this is a better pistol sound effect for the regular pistol than the other one. The other sound effect might as well be a rifle. What's noise loop? Okay, that's... Ooh, rifle sound. I like these sounds for the smaller guns. But I don't see any impacts here. I don't see any like bullets. These are good for melee weapons. I don't see anything here for like... Oh, alright, I'm just going to leave them blank for now until I see something that fits. So for the sounds on the pistols, it's mostly just going to be the ballistic stuff is just going to be standard. So particle impact effect for effects, on the other hand. So we got impact effects. I'm going to go with particles. Let's see. And most of you are going to be... Most of it's going to be concrete large. So reference, 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 reference. Now, Imp Fireball is going to be... Yes, the enemies do use pistols. That is their base class. I'm putting most of the enemy weapons, like enemy-specific weapons, are pistols. And this does mean that you can get an Imp Fireball as a weapon if you want. I don't know if I'm ever going to make that happen, but it would be kind of funny to get like a Hellbeast ball gun or something. On that note, something that's been bugging me about the Hellbeast. Okay. The projectile speed on the Hellbeast is just like non-existent. You can dodge it, you can walk around them, you can run circles around them. Anyway, back to this. So there was impact. We got it was just regular particles. Alright, so for now I'm going to just use this, but I'm going to make a variation for the green, a green variation of this. I wonder if I could set the scale of these things too. That'd be nice, actually, to make the impact effect smaller and larger. So like the Hellbeast ball won't look like a tiny explosion. So there's a lot of stuff that can go into this. I'm probably going to have most of it done by the end of the week. It's just, I feel like I work a lot faster when I'm not on stream. But I am actually making progress right now, so I'm not going to fuck with things. Alright, what was I doing? Okay, so these got it. Now the blaster, I kind of want to try... It wasn't sparks, because this effect is just bonkers. But there was actually a particle effect that matches this for impact effects on this, and it would be electric large. Alright, now we can test that like right away. Honestly. Oops. Why? Oh. Alright, so now the impact effect is sideways because it faces... Yeah. Alright. I don't know. I think the effect of that is a little bit... And shotguns don't, because I have to have only pistols right now. So like, I'm going to have to go through pretty much everything. It's gonna be a slow process. I'm just getting all these in place, but it's really not that bad. It's just mostly gonna be a lot of stuff where I'm hooking things up, and just getting the effects in place for 7 different weapon categories. And the first thing that I'm going to have to do for each one of these, you know what? I actually am. I'm gonna drag you guys through this. You want to see the hell that I have to go through sometimes, where I'm just like, open up a thing, change one thing. Open up a thing, change one thing. I'm gonna do it to all of these motherfuckers, because every single one of these needs to have this hooked up. So Uh, yeah. All right, so base weapon. Um, yeah, I don't need destruct right now. All this is just going to be this. Get the weapon kick, set, set, set. Um, that's just these three variables. But once it's done, it's done. Like the impact effects and sounds and stuff are now going to be hooked up, and you'll actually have actually seen this entire process. It only took nearly 2 hours, but mostly it was just me talking the whole time. Okay, so that's hooked up. That's melee weapons. Now melee weapons can have impact effects and stuff. Impact sounds and effects. Let's see. We got for this. We got weapon kick. Oh yeah, and I can do individual kicks for each of the weapons as well. That'll be easy to hook up as it's not really that big of a deal. Okay. See, with the weapon kick, the way it's currently set up is the weapon kick takes the initial variable, which is 0.8 at this point in time, and it then incrementally, like every couple frames, goes back down to what it was before. So it's like kick, and then you kick, and then you like that. So that's kind of how that works. So like if I feed it a different variable, I just need it to be able to like multiply that by a certain amount and then have it go back down. Like to have it go back down within a certain number of frames or something like that until it's back to where it was before. So like this is actually pretty straightforward. This isn't really that annoying. I was thinking that it would be more, but really all I'm doing is this. And of course I have to go through every single gun and set them all to like have their own kick variables. Most of them are just going to be 0.8 because it works for most of the guns, but it definitely has functionality beyond that to be able to like make the rocket launcher kick a little bit more, make the Magnum kick a little bit more, make the shotgun kick more. The double barrel should like of course, there's also some stuff that I want to address bugs-wise from the feedback that I went over in the beginning of this stream. I guess another way I could have done this is to have just been more reliant on the data table itself and not variables on the object. The only thing is that I mean, I all I'd have to do is I'd have to say, okay, what is the data table and what row, and then grab the entity. But that actually gets to be more annoying in some ways than just referencing a couple variables on an object to me. But maybe that would be like far more efficient. Like I wonder if there are people who watch this and are like just cringing at like, oh, you could have just fucking did it with the data tables. You could have just referenced the data tables. You didn't have to do all this. I don't know. To me, it's nice when you have an object that you can reference easily and it's there. It has everything on it. Just mentally, it's easier for me to organize that in my mind, if that makes any sense. Because, I mean, the data tables, like everything's being pulled from like a list. But maybe, I don't know, maybe the next project I work on with this will be like more just straight up data tables. I'll have like one object that literally becomes anything I want it to be based on the variables in the data table, and I just reference that object and spawn it based on that using the rows from the data table. It's probably a lot more efficient to do it that way. But to me, it feels better when there's like an actual object. Okay. So now that's set up. I can now put impact effects and sounds for all of the different guns. So now the shotgun can have like a cement effect. Here's the thing though, like if it's a ballistic thing, I want it to use the material, a list of materials, like a reference on that, and then that spawns the correct impact effect. I mean, that's just necessary. For right now though, double barrel and shotgun, like everything's just gonna use this cement for now. Or use cement? Concrete. Okay. So you are doing this, and you're sideways. And you should probably be sideways as well. Alright, so like, let me make sure I go into the, yeah, let's see. If I go into the area of effect, impact effect, you are visually, so some objects use the blue to determine which direction they go, and some objects use the red. I'm going to set you to default. So if red is facing up, then the ballistic impacts will work correctly. Yeah. And oh, I didn't do light machine gun. Yeah, I did shotguns though. It ends up actually looking pretty cool when you're fighting stuff. Especially like now. He's made of cement. He has to be made of blood. Are those leaving bullet holes now? Oh wow. Well, I'll have to make sure that I specify in the settings not to leave too many decals. Yeah, see? And fireballs now. Boom. Alright. Of course, all the enemies are made out of cement and they're leaving bullet holes. Yeah, there has to be a system in place for if it's ballistic. There's no way around it. I'm gonna have to specify whether or not something it's like I feel like I just killed a statue. Alright, I need to get the machine guns in now. At least I'm getting effects in place. That's important. If I don't get stuff in place, then that's a problem. Alright, let me go to area effect to see items. I'm almost positive that I have like a sound effect for like when projectiles hit surfaces. All right, so you're rifles, and rifles are gonna have a lot of cement going on. Um, Concrete. Oh, it helps if I go through each and every one of them. Sniper, submachine gun, all of this cement. All right. Yeah, that adds a little. It's a little more dramatic. But I need to have like a like impact effect sound. I guess that's another thing too. Is like the impact effect sound is gonna have to be affected by the surface. And it's going to be the same thing for every gun. Every gun that's ballistic is going to follow the same rules. So it's almost like I don't need to actually specify anything. Like if these variables are blank, then it should just assume that, whoa, what the hell are you doing? That it's ballistic. Actually, I'm kind of curious. How does the blood look? If I go to light machine gun, there's a blood impact effect. Is that gonna work? Is that gonna look okay? Where are you, blood? There you are. Blood large. The walls are bleeding. 54th precinct. Oh God. Oh no, there's like blood sitting in the air. What's going on with that? Ew. Nobody tested this? Look at the blood crate. Oh, gross. It's like floating in the air. Ugh. Okay, what's up with the effect? Why is blood floating in the air? This is a blood door. Oh, I just saw blood like squirting out of this block. Ow. These imps are fucking me up. Catch that fireball. Ow. Didn't do anything? Ow. Yeah, second fireball didn't do anything. I should have died. I should have died. For some reason, imp fireballs just don't do damage. Wonder why. Well, they're made of blood now. Alright. I think on the impact effect, I'm gonna have to have a system to check what the effect's going to be based on whether or not it's ballistics. I can do that fairly easily. All I have to do is see if the effect is being specified, if it's null. So let me go in construction. If impact effect reference is valid, okay, then set it. If it's not valid, print, because I want to see some hellos. I'm going to go through here to light machine gun, and I'm going to specify nothing. Clear. Okay. Here's the problem. The impact effect should have been valid. Oh, that's sound effects. Yeah, if there's no visual, and I probably don't want a sound. This will just be one of those nuanced things with a 3D engine where if you don't follow the rules exactly, or if you didn't know about that thing, then I'll assume that to use another system entirely. But basically what's going on here is, alright, now it's just using its regular thing. Now if I switch to the, okay, so let me make sure that the impact effect sound effect is not, why is it making it that the default sound? where's it getting this sound from? That shouldn't happen. It's getting an explosion from the area effect base. Why are you exploding? Oh, probably because that's what it's getting. It's somewhere along the line that's being specified on the projectile, I guess itself. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go impact effects, that's particle systems, projectiles, base. What are you? You're none. You're none. You're none. It's gotta be weapon based that's doing it then. Weapon based is causing explosions. These need to be blank. Weapon based isn't doing it either. Somewhere there's an explosion. It's gotta be like getting referenced here or something like that. Nope. Nope. Why would it choose something by default without my permission? Maybe because it's already referenced in memory? I wonder if there's a bug. Because there's no object. There's nothing that's specifying those sounds. It's not, there's no explosion. There's not supposed to be an explosion here. And even if I unhooked that, well, I might have to do something like if it's impact effect, yeah, I might have to just specify like clear these things anyway. Like it's probably just a good idea to do that if this isn't valid. Make sure that's something else, because I don't want something in memory, some variable that was already there before, or some weird thing like that. Like I don't want it to point to nothing. Yeah, just blank these things out. So like, it just doesn't do anything for now. Of course, yeah. Of course, that's actually not even the case, because all of that's gonna have to happen right here is I'm gonna have to determine, like, this entire thing right here is gonna have to be a whole system to determine whether or not I use a complicated, like, figure out what the hell it is, what material is being hit. If it's character, then I gotta use blood. If it's metal, it's gotta be metal. Like, there's gotta be a whole system where it just automatically picks the ballistics. And if I do specify an impact effect, then I have to assume it's an explosion. Explosion will always face upwards, no matter what. Well, maybe. It might be kind of cool to have an explosion that comes off of the wall or something like that. Actually, yeah, I don't know. There's too many options. There's too many things to do. So many different things to do. Regardless, when this happens, I do need to make sure that everything gets cleared. I need to cleanse the palette because the system that's being implemented here, I'm not even sure how I'm going to go about that. But with that in the case, like, I'm going to go through all ballistic weapons and yeah, like I'm just gonna clear all these because that's how these are gonna be. Like there's no specifying. I'm just gonna clear these because I'm using a whole different system. Now for cleanliness sake, it might make more sense like when other people use this that I just have a boolean that specifies whether or not it's ballistic, but I mean ultimately it's all based on this. If I don't specify an effect, then simply put, like there's no reason to bother to like put in like a blank effect or something like that. I'm never going to want that functionality. So everything's contingent on whether or not I specify an impact effect. So that means I can at least go through every single one of the weapons in the game currently that do need to have impact effects. But otherwise, nothing else needs it. So, in that case, like, yeah, melee weapons are all just going to be like, melee weapons will probably have to have a unique effect, but I'm not really sure what I want to do with those yet. Because I don't want bullet holes. Although a lot of games do that where it's just like a... But I could just have like a spark effect or something that plays for impact effects. Impact effects will have something. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to look through. But in this case, like... Yeah, there's no reason for me to... Magnum, that's ballistic. Pistol is ballistic. Trifire, pistol is ballistic. And fireball and hell-based blaster are not. And they have specific effects. And the shotguns are all ballistic. So I'm not going to specify anything. Clear. 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 I went through all that trouble to find the cement. Only to have to change it back. Yeah, so projectile base. Assault rifle, nothing. I went through all these already. I already did assault rifle. What did I do? Okay, so howitzer. Probably, I think that's going to be an explosion. Rocket launchers, explosion. Auto rocket launchers and explosions, smaller explosions. Minigun is ballistic, so these guns all have to have not only that, but they're going to have sounds too. So I'll go through these. The auto rocket launcher is going to use grenade explosions. So like, particles. No, not these. I think the military weapons pack actually has like the best effects for this kind of stuff. So the grenade, yeah. Grenade explosion for those, but the rocket launcher, I think I'm going to actually use rocket launcher explosion because that's like a, yeah, it's much more serious kaboom, right? And alright, and the howitzer, I'm not really sure. Like, I want to have something that that's like a pretty intense explosion, but not necessarily a fiery explosion, if that makes any sense. I know I have a bunch of shit now. Like there's a ton of different effects. Those are impacts. No. Blueprint splines, particles, materials, spark. These are all materials for particles. Particle system, weapons, rocket launcher, impact. That's blue. How does that look actually? Well, it's a little too much. Oh yeah, this is taken from the. These are effects that are taken from that first-person shooter template thingy that they made, but it's all in C++. So I didn't want to bother with it, but I can take their stuff, because it's free. Particles. Impact melee metal large. Huh. I can go with that for now. Actually, it's gonna be a lot of just like tweaking and messing around with it. Yeah, let's go with that. Impact metal large. Oh wait, large. I do remember seeing some pretty cool explosions though. There are a lot of impact effects, but a lot of these are energy weapon impact effects. For Man, that's a pretty cool rocket launcher explosion. This one's like blue. If I do like an energy weapon explosion like that, I definitely have variety. Although I might run out of sounds. So like, okay. So that's for the howitzer. The rocket launcher. You know what? The rocket launcher, well, no, I actually like the military weapon one. I'll leave it blank for that. So now these all have explosions. I think my character actually has an auto rocket launcher. I got it from the, yeah, it's an auto rocket launcher. It's number 4. Doesn't have a view model yet, but all right. Pow, pow, pow. I have to specify sounds for these now too. So like if you do specify an impact sound, you have to. Oh, are these sideways? Yeah, they're sideways too. Shit. Are they all sideways? Questions. I'll have to rotate the effect. I'll have to rotate the effect in order to be able to actually for explosions. That's going to be kind of annoying because I might actually have to waste like a Boolean variable on that to specify whether or not the impact effect is facing 90 on the green. Why on Y? And then rotate on Y axis. Yeah, that's kind of annoying, but not the end of the world by any means. But yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and do that right now, like in the construction thing. Rotate, affect rotation. How should I specify that? Or maybe I could just make a rotator and it just be like rotation, effect, rotation, and be like, here's a rotator, man. You figure it out later on what you want. That gives me a little bit more functionality, right? I think, yeah, it does. Because like now I got a rotator. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this impact. No, not the sound. Not this. The impact effect. And rotation. Rotation. Get Uh, local rotation. Set relative rotation. I'm setting the rotation to the rotator. So I got the rotator now. Alright, now this, unfortunately, this is gonna also have to be like an editable variable. Oh, that's kind of annoying, but I guess it's just necessary because if I don't do this, then like I'll have an effect by one artist who decided to make everything go this way, and then another artist who made it go this way. It gets even worse because if I always want explosions to face upwards, then I'll have to remove relative rotation. Damn it. It's even worse than that. So now I gotta be thinking about not just the rotation of the effect itself, but what the rotation needs to be in order for it to be facing upwards. Oh, what a pain. I think in most cases, though, it makes sense to have the explosion face away, like away from the vector of the normal that it hit. The impact normal, right? So like now the rotator is facing in a weird direction, but if I switch to my auto rocket launcher, it's facing correctly. So every impact effect is going to have its own fucking direction. I'm all out of rockets. And of course, ballistics don't get any love. Alright, so not only do I do that, and I also have to have sound. So like sci-fi weapon dark sound effect. Actually, I'm just gonna go to the military. Those are effects. I need sound. Okay, so like it's good sound. It's good sound. I'm sorry, but that's like one of the meatiest grenade launcher sounds. Dad, I'm using that for the howitzer. Hell, man. That's like... that is like... if you're firing that gun, you're like killing elephants with that thing. Alright, anyway. Yeah, well, I don't have the ability to do the actual fire sound yet. I'm working my way up from the bottom. I'm climbing a mountain right now of sounds. But at least I'll have, by probably tonight, I'll have all of the guns with sounds. It's just, there's just so much of this stuff going on. Like, but all the guns are gonna have sounds. And then I still have to figure out exactly how I wanna do the ballistics. Now, at least with the ballistics, it takes a lot of pressure off of me to have to like come up with individual like impact effects for every single gun, because if you're firing regular bullets, you're just gonna be using the same system. So the first thing it does is it cleanses the palette just in case there's some straggler sound effect reference that shouldn't even be there. That's probably going to conflict anyway. So I get rid of that. That does that. But then I need to figure out what the surface is, whether or not it's a fucking character. Oh man, that's probably in the projectile. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let me see what I got here. Okay, here's the hit actor, hit component, impact normal, physical material. There it is. Oh. Alright. Physical material. Is that different from? I think that's different from a regular material. So what if I promote a variable out of this? Physical material. What is a physical material exactly? Alright, I'll have to look that up. I have a feeling that's my ticket right there. So I'll just have to make sure that there's a physical material specified in every material, or if every material is a physical material. Maybe. What's a face index? If colliding with trim mesh or landscape. Tri-mesh. Okay. So it determines whether or not it's landscape index of face that was hit. So somewhere there's like an index with everything in the entire thing. Primitive specific data recording which item in the primitive was hit. Impact point, blocking hit, impact point. Yeah, it's gotta be the physical material. That's gotta be it. I'll have to learn more about it though. I'll have to figure that out. That's gonna be a big part of this whole thing. That's gonna be here. In fact, I'm gonna drag this up because I'm mentally ready for shit to go down up here. I'm pretty sure. Because if I'm going to be checking a physical material, then I might have to have like a specific list of different material types. I mean, let's take a look at a material that I've got right now, right? So like, graphics, geometry, tech, right? And I have right now currently I only have like a couple of different materials that I'm using for this. And these are pretty weird materials to begin with. So like physical, there it is. So this reference is a physical material. Oh! Well, how about that? The person, the person who set up the impact effects, on the marketplace when I bought this pack for impact effects, set up physical materials for me. So I have blood, large. Oh, okay. So I can specify. I'll have to have materials for each of the different types. Like I'll have to have a material for like. I was gonna have to do that anyway, right? But like I was experimenting with all kinds of other stuff to like figure out how to stylize the graphics a little bit more, which is another thing that I want to do is like maybe have like edge shading or maybe even this right here was an attempt at having a world aligned texture with a normal map on the cement. So like so rough is actually supposed to be cement, but I'm probably gonna have a few different variations. But now I know I can easily just specify physical material based on what's currently here. So, all right, let's go concrete large, just for now. All right, so you have, so tech rough is concrete large, and tech material, I'm gonna do physical material. You're gonna be metal. All right, so sometimes things just kind of happen. You end up, oh, fuck it. With the rock, um, material over here, I'm gonna put dirt. Landscape. Now the only thing is though, I need to make sure that the physical material doesn't specify a whole lot. Like maybe the physical material is meant to be used a certain way, but like you're gonna be dirt and stuff. Dirt. I'm gonna use dirt large. Okay. Now let me investigate further on what these physical materials are for, because it's possible that the impact effects have the uh, the effects actually have a lot more going on inside of them. So impact effects, physical materials. Okay, friction, restitution. Restitution or bounciness of the surface between 0, no bounce, outgoing velocity the same incoming. What have I done? I'm not really sure. Surface type 9. Surface type. Okay. Set this up. Alright, it doesn't seem to affect anything. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't look like it's affected anything in here. Those are some pretty interesting variables, though. Okay. But, with that said, when the impact... Alright, I'll have to go into weapon base and I'll have to hook up the effect rotation as well, but... Alright, I guess physical material... Check? Hold on a second. I'm gonna have to check this real quick. Google... Unroll... For... Impact, effects, physical material. I just need to see, like, somebody doing this same thing. I just need, like, a confirmation that I'm not going off on La La Land over here, and I'm making things up in my head. What is that? Looks like dirt, rock, sand. What is that mess? Spawn emitter at location. Wow. Okay. Spawn emitter at location. I mean, it... Hmm. I don't have to mess with this. I'm not really quite sure. This is one of those things where I'll have to dig a little bit more to make sure that I'm on the right track, but like I'm thinking a lot of people have already messed around with this. But for now what I'll do is I'll focus on just getting the effects of the specified stuff functioning. And I don't know, just for the heck of it, I'll just leave everything as cement or concrete large right now. Or yeah. Particles, concrete large. That way there's at least something. But now the effect rotation works for this is going to have to be 90, right? I'm just going to assume that 90 will be the default for this, but for this it will not be. And if things explode, and I'll have to specify something different for every damn effect, I'll have to worry about that later. Alright. So what I got here is... Okay, that's working correctly. That's working correctly. That's working correctly, I think. Or is it facing towards me? Yeah, it's working. Zoom! It's a little too bloomy. Okay. So with all that insanity, I'll have to specify the sound effects on each of these. So auto rocket launcher sound explosion. Rocket launcher explosion. How over the top is this rocket launcher explosion gonna be? That's shotgun. Rocket. I already did that one. How does it sound? Okay, howitzer. I might actually use the rocket sound, the rocket launcher explosion sound for the howitzer as well, even though it's just like a. I don't know. There's probably actually a better sound for the impact of something that's like really intense, like large bullet impact. Let me see. I don't know. Where's military weapon? Pistol. Huh. Alright, that's actually a good well, the howitzer is like basically just fucks shit up. So I'll have to worry about that later, but I gotta like tech rough. I'll get to the physical material stuff later tonight when I can just kind of like chill and figure it out. But like Boom. That works. Let me see. All right. Rocket launcher. And of course, the blaster sound doesn't have an impact sound, so blaster needs an impact sound effect, which means I need to go to the weapon item, which is slot 2 base. Got this blaster. I think the imp fireball also needs to have an impact sound as well. So like blaster is what should you sound like? Sci-fi weapons light is probably the way to go. Pistol, I mean, can't go wrong there. Does it have an impact sound? It just has a sound. Wow, it's the sound that the fucking gun should make, not the impact. How about a sniper? Does he have impact surface? There's a certain point in time where it's like sound effects just don't sound like what you think they would sound like. It probably sounds fine in game, but it sounds a little weird to me. Maybe the grenade explosion, but that's probably gonna be like way over the top. Yeah. How about, is there impact sounds with the surface? Rocket launcher impact is obviously gonna be fucked up. That's not gonna work. None of those are gonna work. Sci-fi weapons is dark. I have a feeling that these are the exact same sound effects. Maybe they're the same sounds. I don't know. Maybe I should just hear it, see what it sounds like. Also, too, imp fireballs. I have a feeling that the imp, there's the where the effect is located is the same place where the sound effect should be like coming from. These are like menu sounds. Nope. Footsteps, fire, elemental, dangerous horizon. Yeah, these are all ambient sound and shit. That's another thing I gotta get in place is the ambient sound effects for the world and music. So this is just insanity, because I want to have a music system where it plays a specific song, like the music thing sits in the world, and it just plays a specific song, and then when you activate a battle sequence, the battle sequence changes the music. So like if there's an active battle sequence, like it checks every once in a while if one is active, and that's when the music like becomes intense. Of course, there'll probably be some levels where things are just always intense anyway, but for the most part, there's got to be like a impact effect that's like a simple explosion. Starter content. I think actually, yeah, because there was like these might be a little over the top though, but that's fire. Music. It's pretty cool stuff actually. Um. Where would the sound be? What would be a good sound for this? No. I find when it comes to like messing with sounds and music and stuff like that, you can just get stuck looking at a little tiny part of the screen, trying to figure it out. Is there any sound effects sitting? No. Oh, there might be something. Not this one, but the other one. Sci-fi weapons. Although I'm kind of wondering if sci-fi weapons probably just has what I need, but what's this? These are for like. Sorry, that was pretty loud. Oops, don't play it again. All right. Now I have to pee. It's intense. It's not just a gun. It's a transformer. He picks up the gun. It's like. All right. Ooh, that's kind of cool. It's so like over. It's like the gun is like. No, I don't want that. Starter content. You failed me. Sound classes. No. No. I think I might just be missing a good sound effect for like the impact of something like a fireball. Because there's the survival horror stuff might have a sound that I can use. So for like FX, let's see. For some reason this is bugging me. Like I do want to actually. Fucking hell. I don't want to fight what that is. Creature die. Okay. Footsteps. What? Ugh. Holy shit. Is the guy made of, is he a fucking, like, golem or something? Let's see, creature pain. I'll probably be using some of these. Creature snort. Ah, he snorted. Alright, digital beep? No, that's not even close to what I need here. Knock. Alright, everybody's gonna think something's at the door. Those are huge explosions. What the fuck is gonna be happening in this game? Like, whoever imagined these sound effects is like, alright, survival horror. Let's have a nuke go off every once in a while. Okay, these are footsteps. These are actually better footsteps. Ooh, different surface footsteps. Okay. That's loud. Or weird. Heavy rain. Have to pee again. Security door. Shotgun. It's kind of like a shotgun that's like really far away. Wind howl. Okay. Nope. Nothing. Even though there's a lot of cool stuff in here. I'm fucked. on this front. I won't be able to come up with sounds for the impacts. I could just give him the same impact sound as the fucking blaster. Just fuck it for it out and see what happens. See what it's like. At least it's something. At least it's an audible event. It's not like I have to fucking build Rome in one day, even though it's kind of the goal. It does actually work. It makes sense. It didn't sound like it would. It actually sounds... Alright. Now I have to do the sound effect for the bullets flying through the air. So every projectile is going to have a sound for whatever it's doing in the air, but I'm not really sure like how should that work? Like should it only make sound if it's coming towards you? Cuz like I don't want to hear every bullet I fire. The light machine gun got the best silencer. Let's just make this a stealth game now. It's like, alright man, you have no idea. Oh god, he's stealth too! Oh. Alright, that guy was stealth. This was stealth fight. Yeah, actually, hold on a second. I need to hear those imps. Or the, Yeah, you died. Okay. Yeah, it's not gonna work. I'm not sure. There's gotta be like a good sound for that. I'm gonna be tormenting myself with this all week. I'm sure of it. This is gonna be hell. Why is that selected? How did I select this? How did I select that? Oh man. Okay, so it's working. That's the main thing here. Alright, so I'm gonna go through the rest. It's kind of hard to know when to end a stream like this, because it's like, this is just an ongoing thing. This is it. This is what it is. So it's like... Alright, lightning gun impact. That'll have to be unique. The lightning gun impact will probably be the same exact, except for a different sound. More of like an electrical sound or something when you hit somebody with that. The laser cannon, that'll pretty much, laser cannon fires like bouncy lasers that go everywhere. So that will most likely be like the same sound effects, but it'll have to be a different effect. A different impact effect. Lightning gun will have to. Plasma rifle is the same exact projectiles as the blaster. So I can quite literally just grab what the blaster has and just copy that over. So like copy plasma rifle. It's kind of funny. I'm spending all this time working with the weapons that don't even really have art yet, but like, you know, hey, getting it in place is getting it in place. The plasma rifle is a badass gun. It's gonna be interesting to fight enemies that have plasma rifles actually. The railgun, really high damage weapon. The railgun's an awful lot like the the fucking howitzer. Honestly, they're very similar weapons. They just encompass different slots. And of course, there's grenade launcher, right? So like this, I can cover these. They're just gonna be grenade explosions, most of them, except for the firebomb launcher. I'm still skeptical whether or not I want to include it, but basically the firebomb launcher, you just fire one grenade and it just AoEs an entire area for like a really long time. There's just fire and everything that touches it burns for a certain amount of time, and it's kind of a weird gun. It's the only gun like that in the game. So I'll do the grenade launcher sound. Oh. Nope. Nope. You would have to be the military weapons, I think. I feel like that's too much. Damn, I had a sound effect that was a little bit better for that later on. Or I remember hearing something that was like a little bit better for what I needed. Like reload eject. Cool, actually. Where's the fire sound? This raises a question with the grenade launcher, actually. Does the grenade launcher have a sound effect for when it impacts something and bounces? Okay, so it said start location. This is a bounce here. So yeah, don't bounce if you hit something, but do bounce if you hit something and bounce is true. Then class it was a class of child. If it's a character, false, then you bounce. In which case, I have to have a bounce sound. I have to specify a bounce sound in the projectile, and it has to play right here. So there has to be like a bounce. That's kind of cool. Let me hear the other ones though. I know the military one has like better bounces. So I'll have to have a sound effect in the projectile. That is the bounce. And that'll have to be another thing that's specified in the weapon class is the bounce sound if it bounces. Okay. So many little things keep coming up. But alright, those are just the references. There's another thing too. I don't think the effect rotation needs to be something that that is editable right now, because I might be able to get away with just making it so that it stays the way it is currently right now. Like it may not actually need to be anything like super fancy. Um, yeah. If I run into problems later on where the effects that I'm playing are not facing the correct directions and stuff like that, then I'll need to worry about it. But for right now, I don't need to worry about that. So, um, all right. Now I need to go into weapon base and have a bounce sound. So, okay, all right, weapon base. I have to go into the base class of all of my weapons and make sure that I have a reference to a sound effect that is for the bounce effect, and that's gonna have to be done. I'll have to specify that in the construction script as well. So static mesh. This is where I specify the effect. I mean the actual projectile graphic is here. So what better place than to have a bounce effect? Does it bounce? Is bounce true? I don't even. You know what? I don't even need to do that. I'm gonna say audio, bounce, sound. All right. Shit, I'm gonna need to make sure that I can get a rocket launcher. I'm gonna have to put down a loot bubble that gives me all the guns. I probably should have had that anyway. Like, but it's just fun to add one in. You just gain access to like every fucking gun in the game. But I probably needed to do that a long time ago anyway. But a lot of the stuff that I mean, there's a lot of things going on, but it's not super complicated. It's just lots and lots of very simple things at the same time. So sound, set sound. And this is the exact same thing that I did before, except now I have to have a variable, promote variable, and it's going to be the bounce sound. Now this isn't just going to be grenades. This is also going to be a sound effect for the laser cannon, for example, bounces all over the place, and that'll have to have like an electrical like or something. I don't know. Whenever it bounces. So this will be the sound effect for. Okay, and this will have to be editable on spawn. Alright, that means I need to go into weapon base. And I'm going to have this added in. So there's an impact sound. Now I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to be bounce sound. Because bounce is different from impact. But what's sad about this is that impact is now the exploding grenade. But bounce should be bounce. Or an impact is a bounce. As a result of a bounce. So it's backwards. And you end up with variables that don't really mean what they should now. Okay, that took a little time to edit because I had to do it that way. But now that I got this, I got bounce sound on the grenade. Now I have to make sure that all of the guns now have this variable set. Oh hell. Even the melee weapons. Because you never know when you want a bouncing melee weapon. Yeah, that'll have to go into the data, into the struct. So, weapon struct. I'm actually thinking that the bounce sound could go by the Boolean bounce. So I'm sure there's an impact flash, impact color, projectile bounce, and then I'm going to put the sound for the bounce. So Here we go. Watch as Destruct gets larger and my project gets closer and closer to an early grave because the fucking Unreal Engine loves to fuck structs. Okay, so reference. Okay. Projectile impact bounce. Alright, I'm gonna move you up because I'm feeling frisky here. Yeah, this might not fuck with things. I'm not ruining. You know, I can't say for sure that if I'm not like clearing like every variable that I've just gone past or something. There's bounce, projectile bounce. Bounce velocity, bounce sound. Come on, man. I can make it. I can make it. Projectile gravity, bounce velocity. Maybe I'll just leave sound there. I don't want to go any higher. I don't want to risk it. Okay. So now every weapon has a reference for bounce sound, which is now located here. So I got bounce velocity, got bounce, and it's all going to be the same. In fact, I could probably just specify in the struct. Yeah, I could probably just specify in the struct like the default bounce sound, but I don't really have to do that. It's probably best just leave it blank. How's it going? Yeah, I can't read your name. I've been at this for a little while. I think my brain's turning into mush. Let's see. Okay, so the bounce sound is chilling here now, and I probably ruined every single class. Let me just make sure. Look at all that stuff that I edited and I didn't even touch it. Okay, so like that's projectile. Oh, I didn't specify a projectile graphic on the melee weapons? Well, that's rude. Surely I did that for all of the other weapons. Yes. At least as far as I can tell. Alright, let me clear all this out just so I can fucking keep my mind focused. Weapons base. I got a bounce sound now. And the bounce sound is being set. Area of effect. Projectile base. Bounce sound. Okay, so weapon base. I do need to make sure that in weapon base the bounce sound is being pointed to. Otherwise, because there's a whole lot of like stuff going on here. Yeah, the bounce sound, it needs to be like... Actually, does it? Does it? Oh. I'm going to have to end this stream. It's been 3 hours. Holy crap. But I will end this stream now. I will be continuing to work on this, and I will actually have progress on it by tomorrow. So like the next time I come back to this, it'll be a little bit more entertaining because the stuff that I'm doing is really nitty-gritty, like detail, like just getting all this. But the next build of the game, you're gonna be firing guns that have sound effects, like for sure. Unless something explodes in my face, I'm about 99% sure that that's going to be the case. Project Stray is going to have sounds, impact effects, everything pretty much in place, or at least functional in place. Because nothing that I'm seeing right now is complicated. It's just a matter of picking the sounds. Oh, and if worst comes to worst, I might have to even buy more sounds or something. but I think I have enough variety as it is at the moment. But um, yeah, all right. I'm gonna end this now. I hope you guys found this entertaining. Or at least like learned how crazy it is to like do all this nutty stuff. Um, I hope you enjoyed. I will be back tomorrow, and tomorrow will be a little bit better because I'll be through all of this detail stuff. All right. Uh, Take it easy. Stay tuned for more. All that. Hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna end the stream now. Okay, guys. It's been 3 hours.